This is Daniel for Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat. I'm joined by Connor the Kid Coyle, who is currently 15-0 with 7 KOs as a professional. Hi, Connor, you okay?
Yeah, I'm all good, Daniel. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on to the channel. Thank you for giving us your time. I know you're currently training for a fight you've got on the 21st of May. So, Connor, for the people who haven't heard or spoken to you before, or heard from any interviews from yourself, give us a bit of a background on your amateur career and your professional career so far.
Well, I started boxing at the age of 12, almost 20 years now. My first fight I was 12, and then I just kept fighting through the amateurs until I got to the All Irelands and stuff. And then I didn't really progress so much in my amateur career until later, until my early 20s. Sorry, I started taking it a little serious and pushing on. And I won the silver medal at GB Multi-Nations. I was number 2 in Ireland, the Irish senior finals and stuff. And then I went on to Commonwealth Games, got a bronze medal, and then I won several other medals for Ireland in multi-nation tournaments. The goal was always to try and reach the Olympics, but after the Commonwealth Games, I suffered a torn tendon in the first fight, so I only had one hand, and I was out after an operation for 11 months. So my first fight back wasn't great, and so I didn't make it to the trials. So I just knew it was time to turn over to professional then, and it's just been all uphill since that in the professionals.
So obviously you're residing out in America at the moment. What made you decide to do that rather than staying back here in Ireland or in the UK?
I always had in my head that I was always going to move to the States for professional boxing career. I always thought it would have been someone like New York or something, like John Dudley, a previous dairyman who's done that as well. So I thought I might have done something similar. But I have a friend, John Coyle, who's based out here, or he's a citizen here now in America. He lives in Florida with his wife.
Yeah.
And he just happened to run into my now coach, Jim McLaughlin, Hall of Fame, Florida boxing coach. And they brought me over for a training camp. And I took a fight, and ever since that, they wanted to sign me, and we just moved on from that. We just progressed from there.
Do you think it's obviously a massive difference training out in the sun in Florida than it is back here in the UK or Ireland? Do you feel it's benefited you as a pro with training in them conditions?
Definitely. The training over here, like, it's not to say we're the high altitude or anything, but the humidity, in the air, it's very hard to breathe. So if you're not used to it, but I feel like after a week or so of my time here, I adapted pretty quickly now. But the first time I came here in 2016, July 2016 was the first time I ever came here, and I struggled. I struggled through the first 3 weeks of training. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't do more than 2 rounds on the bags.
I know the heat is something different out in Florida, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just totally different to back home. But obviously you've adapted now. Obviously you're doing well out in America. You fought obviously in America. You fought it in Mexico. You fought all over America, living that what we call the American dream. Obviously making your way in the pro ranks. Obviously you're currently 15-0 with seven knockouts. You picked up many American titles along the way. Your next fight on the 21st of May is obviously for the North American Boxing Association middleweight title. How's training going with that? Then obviously you're fighting Antonio Todd there. So how do you think that fight's going to go?
I think it's going to be a tricky fight. He's he's a very awkward, negative kind of fighter. And he changes up his style actually within the rounds, So I definitely think it's going to be a tricky fight. But we've done our background check on him, and we did our homework. We know we have the capability of beating him, possibly knocking him out down the stretch after a few rounds, figuring him out. But we just stick to our game plan, and everything will work out as it has been so far. So I just put my trust in my coach, and I have the confidence in my ability and my training that I've been doing. And we've had a great camp. I've just finished my sparring now. I've had 100-round sparring this camp over 8 weeks. So I'm more ready to go 10 hard rounds.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Like I said, you've obviously got the power in your hands there with seven knockouts. Nearly half your fights that you've had so far in your career has ended in knockouts. So obviously you said you're looking for the knockout in this fight. But obviously, if the knockout doesn't come, do you feel you'd be confident to beat him on points?
Oh yes, definitely. I'm a much superior boxer. My skill levels are way and above, way above and beyond Antonio Todd's. I feel I have everything above him in every level: speed, power, boxing ability, footwork. So I'm pretty confident going into the fight. But I don't take anyone too lightly. Anybody can upset anybody, and this game at middleweight, especially in them little gloves, what takes one punch can change anything. So just got to be alert for the full 10 rounds if it goes the distance.
Yeah, that's true. It's that famous saying, isn't it? Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obviously, it's just going forward with them. Obviously, making sure, as you said, you've put your faith in the plan that your coaches have set for you, and having that plan A, B, and C going forward. Yeah. So you know exactly you've got everything, all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. So obviously you've been fighting down in America for most of your career now. Obviously, but the last fight back in Ireland was back in 2017. You also fought in the fight capital, some people call it. Obviously, the fight mecca of Mexico. Obviously, I know there's not where everyone wants to fight, as in like Vegas, etc. But obviously, boxing is massive out in Mexico, especially with Canelo and people like that. Obviously, and obviously Eddie Hearn's coming over there now, and he's doing a lot of promotion with Canelo over there. What was it like fighting out in Mexico? Was it much different to fighting in America and over here in Ireland?
My first Mexico trip last April, Chihuahua, I was in the first round TKO. Then we fought the month after, the exact same date as I'm fighting now, May 21st last year. But that was a crazy experience. We got a bus away up the outskirts in the mountains, and the weigh-ins, we were in a broken down building with no roof and all for the weigh-ins. There's no chance that we're weighing in here. I said, where's the fight? And they says, the fight's here. I says, the fight can't be here. There's no roof in the building. And there was wee stray dogs running around everywhere, and there was people lying in the streets. I swear to God, you couldn't ride it. So I says, if the fight's here, I'm not fighting. So when we came up the next day for the actual fights, it was even worse again. We were fighting. The ring was terrible. It wasn't even put together. It was probably 3 different rings all put together. It wasn't even the right ring. So it was all wobbling, and then there was 3 holes in the center of the ring. And then in the second round, just made it worse. It just opened up. There was a rainstorm, and we boxed through 5 rounds in the open air with a rainstorm, and then the lights shining down. You couldn't see in front of you. Like, Jesus, this is a crazy experience. So it eventually had to get called off after 6 rounds. Because they were in the ring after every round from the second round, brushing it. Because it was flooded. And you needed a pair of welly boots, not boxing boots.
It's like one of them old-fashioned fights, isn't it, where it goes to the end. And no matter what weather, no matter what conditions, it just goes. But obviously, so the experience you've had is obviously different to the fights you've had in America then, really.
I'll never forget my Mexican experience.
So obviously going forward,
I'll definitely not forget that fight.
That fight's always going to be one to tell the grandkids about down the line.
Yeah, I'll never forget that one anyway.
So going forward,
I've had a good platform here. I fought in Washington. I fought in Vegas. Fought in Florida, obviously a lot of times. But we fought in Boston there recently in February. So I'm fighting in a good lot of states here in America, and I'm enjoying it. But I do want to come back home and fight close to Ireland or in Ireland, on the UK, anywhere for fans at home so I can build a platform for my UK and Irish fan base as well.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Really, what is your plans about coming back home to Ireland or to fight and build? But obviously, because I'm assuming you've built a fan base out in America now with fighting across all the different states and things. Yeah. What is your plans for coming back home and fighting back in Ireland or back somewhere in the UK? Maybe a Jason Quigley fight will bring you back. The top 2 in Ireland coming back. What about that fight?
I will fight anybody, whoever has to come on my path. Whoever's in our way, we'll fight them. But Jason Quigley, he's under the WBO, with the NABO rankings and stuff. Yeah. Where I'm in the WBA now with like the likes of Chris Eubank and what do you call it,
Liam Williams.
And Liam Williams and stuff like that, you know. So they could be big domestic fights or big fights that could possibly happen over the next 2 or 3 fights. Even closer, actually. When I lift this NABA title, that puts me in the top 10 rankings in the WBA, you know. So once I collect this, I'm up there in the mix, and you know, you can get a call at any stage in.
Well, Liam Williams is obviously coming back off the fight with Eubank. Obviously, he had that loss, so maybe you and Liam Williams would be a good fight coming back to the UK. Obviously, that could take place, and obviously that would set you up then going forward for potentially a fight with Chris Eubank Jr. if you were to come off and win that fight against Liam Williams.
Yeah, well, we had, I don't know if you've seen it already, but we had the offer to fight Eubank like 6-7 months ago before Williams, but it was on 6 days' notice. I was just actually getting over COVID at the time, and I was 9 kgs overweight. 6 days' notice. No, it wasn't sensible to take. No. I would have took it. I would have took the fight. Got a nice payday, probably my best payday now since I started boxing. But you know, I would have just damaged my whole career then. You know.
Yeah, you would have taken a payday.
I go about there and look bad over 2-3 rounds and maybe get stopped. You know, nobody would take me serious then.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say you would have taken that payday, but you're holding that undefeated record. You'd want to take any fights that you aren't ready for, and especially coming back off such a serious thing like COVID, you wouldn't want to get in the ring with a top contender in the middleweight division after suffering that.
No, so, definitely not with 6 days' notice anyway. 6 weeks at least.
Yeah, you want at least a full camp if you can, don't you? Going into a fight of that magnitude. So obviously they're the fights that you're looking at potentially bringing you back to the UK.
They will be big fights. I would like to take close to home, you know. And the risks have to be worth the rewards as well. You know, if get on the big fights like that, you know, then the risks needs to be worth it too. You know, can't be jumping in, risking an undefeated career, undefeated record with a high risk and low reward. We had an offer to fight on the Katie Taylor undercard with one, I think, of Matchroom's fighters, but the risk. He was undefeated as well. He was 10-0, but the money just wasn't worth it wasn't worth it for us. And we already had all our plans set, so we says we don't really need to take it because we have our own path now for the next couple of fights. And left this big title, you know, so that'll set us up onwards. I
was gonna say, you seem to have your career planned out. You know exactly where you're going and what roads you're taking, which shows you've got good people behind you as well. Planning your route to the end goal of where you want to be is obviously having that opportunity of becoming world champion. So go on. Sorry.
No, I'm saying I definitely have a good team behind me. My coach, and then Jody Callagher, one of my managers as well from the Firefist Boxing. He was my first promoter, but he's on our team now, and he's been with us ever since, you know. So I would have to give them a big shout out for everything that they've done, because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them.
They say, don't they, you've got to have a good team behind you in this sport, because otherwise it's a lonely old sport.
Yeah.
We've touched on Katie Taylor. Obviously, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano recently fought in MSG. They broke all records for women's boxing, brought women's boxing, I think, right onto the radar. It was already on the way up, but I think they've taken it to another level now. Obviously, there's talks of the rematch being in Croke Park back in Ireland. Potentially, I know you said that he's going down another governing body route. Potentially, you and Jason Quigley on that card. Massive fight for Ireland, massive fight for yourself.
Definitely. If Eddie Hearn wanted to put something on, because I'm sure he'll be the top man they contact. If he wanted to put something like that on, then we will be definitely interested. And if not, Jason Quigley, another big name, even in the UK or someone and close to home anyway. To build a big fan base up then.
Would you look? Are you looking now for the rest of your career potentially to start coming back home and fighting more home rather out in America?
Yeah, I would love to have a fight at home. Maybe a fight here, fight at home. Back and forth, whatever is available. I wouldn't mind having the next 2 or 3 fights back at home if I could, but just, as I say, we have to have the right people giving us the right options and the right offers as well for it to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. Just one thing. Where did the nickname come from?
As I said at the beginning, the guy that I came over to, John Coyle. So before my first fight, he kept calling me kid. What's happening, kid, or whatever. No, that's what he always would have called me. And then I think someone heard him wrong or whatever, and then it sort of just got turned into the kid, and then it just came from my first fight, and it stuck ever since. I didn't even think it would stick, but here we are now, 15 fights later, and it's still there.
Well, it can't be doing you wrong. You're 15-0. It must be that lucky old man. You didn't think it was going to be there, but it's there.
That's it.
So obviously we're going back now to the fight. Now you go on the 21st. Obviously you when you heard that and the near when you lift that belt, and then it's just going to take your career then to a whole new level. What would be a good 2022 for yourself, Conor?
Well, we'll start now on May 21st, collecting the WBA, NABA title. And we also have our eyes set on the WBC, the NABF title as well. So if I could lift both them titles this year and get us ranked in the WBC and the WBA, that'll be a fantastic start and end to the year. And then just progress on 2023. Forgot what year it was there. Next year, anyway, progress, try and climb the rankings and get closer to a world title.
Yeah, brilliant. Like I said, we wish you, all the best of luck on the 21st of May. Obviously, wishing you all the best of luck with the rest of 2022. Hopefully, I can catch up with you, or we can catch up with you after your fight on the 21st of May and see how it's gone. Obviously, have you got any shout outs you want to give to any sponsors or anybody else in your team going for this interview?
I would just like to thank Jody Callagher, my managers, and John McLaughlin, John Van Seguera. They're the guys that bring me over here and set up all these fights. They pay all these organizations and get everything locked in. We'll make sure I get the fight date set. So massive shout to them. And I have too many sponsors to shout out and mention, but I would like to shout out to all the sponsors as well, and everyone that tunes in and hopefully watches the fight on May 21st.
Well, fantastic. Well, like I said, Conor, thank you so much for the time, and obviously all the best of luck here from Eat, Sleep, Box and Repeat on the 21st of May.
Appreciate it, Daniel. Thank you.